right, guys, good morning, good evening. Welcome to the first week of December. Mike is all okay? Hear me good? You guys all motivated, pumped? I'll just keep going with daily chart setup while we're here, and then we'll jump into the top-down analysis. So we've got our PDH set up here. PDL, we've just done the OTE zone here, which price has come back into our open, into that 6-2. We've already got a Q1 zone we can work with for the moment. Oops. Put that on. Everyone survive the New York moves, okay? Come on, manipulation zone. Come on, brain. So this is our current high of the day until it's not for the moment. I can do a standard deviation pull from this as well. Desk is telling me to move. And we'll just pop these deviations on. So we've got 1.5 right at that FRVP POC. It's going to be interesting. And 4.5 here. We do have a zone here already. This is our Q2 zone from NYPM here. The zones are really big at the moment. So make it very easy to work with. Which is what we're touching on now. And then we have this large one here from the NYAM. So sort of sandwich between both at the moment. Coming down just to SD1 there. Can anyone else not hear me? Do you guys want me to restart the stream? Okay. So we've got Jess here as well. Welcome, Jess. So we've already swept that NYPM high. We've got that here. We'll pop that on the chart too. Push below. Change in state of delivery here. Cibi. And our PM low is PDL. Oops, we'll put that one as well. Give me the line. And low plus PDL. So what we're trying to work out at the moment is, as we're in Q1, is this our main manipulation for Asia? And are we just going to continue down? We now have a Cibi that we can work with as well for invalidation. If we come back up, flip that and start pushing up for a low of the day. It's always tricky with this first part of the day. Ali's having trouble as well. All right, I'll do a quick restart of the stream. All right, guys, hopefully that sorted it out for the people that can't hear. Just let me know in the chat as well. Just turn off kill zones and pivots here. All right, so all good. Sweet. Okay. So we have our New York PM manipulation here, which we're bouncing off, and we've got a current current Asia manipulation here. Had a SBS coming out of here. Had our 1 was our break, 2, 3, and then we sweep 2. It's a nice move here for Q1 short here in the PM, if you guys got that. That's probably the cleanest move out of all of this on the 5 minute for New York. All right, so that's our daily chart set up. So we can use this as a zone as well. And then otherwise we can look at just the 5 minute tweezer here where we've got that bearish engulfing. If we want to try and make that a little bit tighter. I think we had our 1 minute zone in there as well, which would have been needed if you wanted to get a better standard deviation from this manipulation pool. So this was our Q3 manipulation swing here. We get our break, we come back into the zone here, which lines up with that 5 minute tweezer too, right? So then we could work just with that 1 minute swing there and OTE from here as well. Come back to 0.5. And targeting 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, and 4.5. Welcome GCA 619. Nice to have you in here. Where does the 1.5 mark out? Not cozy because we already had the 6, right? Let me jump into the actual review. So we had our main break here on the 5 minute. That's our 1, and we come back for 2. If we draw that 2 on a little bit thicker so you guys can see. And then we come down to 3 here. So it comes back to OTE. So we're doing our OTE swing from 1 down to 3. Comes back to 0.62. We get a 5 minute swing failure pattern there. So it comes up, sweeps the previous high, closes back in the range, and then we come down and we expand to 6 here. So now to start another one, we would need, and we'd want candle closes below here. And we get a breakdown again for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is what we would look for a redistribution fractal. All right. So eyes on this SIBI at the moment for Asia. This is exciting. I didn't want price to be really interesting, so I could go straight into the top-down analysis. We've got our 200 SMA here as well, VWAP. And what time are we? Coming into the 1900 macro as well. So we're trying to work out, is the hour going to be open low, high close, or is it open high, low close, and we come down to that SD 1.5? Open high, low close, yeah. So then we would look at, pop our short tool on here, stop above and hit that SD 1.5, which is the pot. I'm just going to do this on my Top Step account. Just bear with me for a sec. This is worth taking. Invalidation is going to be above that, closes above the CB. All right. And then additional targets at each SD level. And if we just pop on our other high TF candles to view. So we want this H1 here. So these are our 1 hour candles. We want these to stay as resistance, as a bearish order block. Didn't quite get the body close below there, but we swept the high, swept the low. Exciting stuff. All right. Let's pop that into the background. Okay, and we'll come back to this in a minute. Let's jump into our higher time frames. Just need to get rid of everything on my chart for a sec. Coming to the end of the 12 monthly, been pushing up quite nicely. We have that tail wick here into the order block, respecting 50% of the order block, and well above the open now, pushing up into the 6 monthly. Had that nice swing failure pattern there, sweeps all the lows, comes back into the range. And we've just opened, touched back into this body of the 6 monthly and then pushing up. You can see we had that nice respect here of the 2 down closed candles, and we had that IBC in here, which we touched. Three monthly. Just keeping an eye on that 5-minute chart on my other screen at the same time. I want to see. Don't want that CB to get inverted on the 5-minute. Let's see how well I can multitask. So 3 monthly, we had respect of this whole downswing here. You can draw that on as a order block as well. And we're looking for price to stay above 50% of that. And we can see we weren't able to get candle closes even into that zone. All candle closes were above. And we had that order block here, which was where price come back to, respected 50% of that. And took off. And we had, we did an OTE from here, I believe. There's a 7-9 suit into continuation. Time are we now? 19:20. This 5-minute closes above that CB. I'm going to close the short. Yeah, closing it now. Not happy with that at all. Huge push, guys. Trade invalidation. Goes above here. Well done, man. You well done with the long. So now we are plausible low of the day window into 1845. Didn't even get SD1 or 1.5 on that. This zone is now almost invalidated once that high goes. And we have the standard deviation pull. Did we get that body close? Confirmation was this candle here. Yes, didn't take. SD 1.5 untapped. I might wait and see. I want I'm going to wait for the next 1 hour open and see what happens there. If we haven't hit SD1.5 and we come back, so we can set this now as the plausible zone. Q1. And as long as well. Nice work. There's a trap. See if we can come down here into 2000 for a open low high close. Target 2.5, 1.5. If we come up and we break above 1.5, then we're not going to be interested because that's already TP1. Which I was hoping to get with a short down here, down to that fixed range volume profile POC, and then ideally into a rotation back up. All right, leave that to play out. Okay, back into the monthly. So we had our previous month down close here that we're watching, and we're looking at 50% of that for the close. So 50% of this previous candle here. So if we draw out our box with our midline there, we can see we closed above, and then we can also watch the wick now of this candle. So we come down, we swept that previous month. We can watch the wick and look at 50% of that wick, CE of that wick to hold for support as well for continuation up to that high. If we go into our 6 hour now, aligned with the monthly, we can have a look at how that's playing out currently. This also shows, if we're looking at the 6 hour, why the start of the month has currently been a bit tough, because we're like sitting in this range here, you know, just getting dojis. So on the 6 hour and the monthly, so we had our previous month, so November high was here. So we're working from that November standard deviation pool. Once we broke and we come back, retest that zone. We had our SD 1.5, 2.5 here, retracement in Q2, leaving equal highs now, which would be nice for later. SD 3.5 and the month finishing at SD 4.5, creating the low zone here of the month. And that's the standard deviation pool that we're in at the moment. So we have, we hit SD 1.5, 2.5. 3.5 and coming up to 4.5 now. So what we're trying to work out now, we're in Q1 of December. Is this going to be the Q1 low of December? And we start breaking out and continue up for an open low, with this being the open, so the low, but opening, we're using that manipulation swing from the end of the month into a high close. Alternatively, once that, if this low gets taken later and we put a high up here, then we can be looking at a Q1 high. So we're still at that early stage of the month where we're trying to map that out and just work with what is being printed on the tape. So you can see we're going from some clean moves SBS here, right? 1, 2, 3. We sweep 2. We come back up. 4, 5, 6. And now this is not clean. This is why I've been saying as well since the start of December that we just want to go easy on our accounts and reduce risk as well until we get some clear direction. We can also see using the previous month is looking like a market maker buy model. So the current zone on the 6 hour, I have this low swing here that created this breakout. I'm looking at that for current support. And then watching this last candle here. Once we get body closes above that, which we haven't got yet. So this was the 6 o'clock candle from Wednesday. Looking for that candle to get flipped. We get body closes above that. We can look for that then to hold for support and 50% of that to hold. But until we, if we're not getting candle closes above that, then we're still working in this low swing here. So being respected quite nicely so far. Why is the monthly relevant for the next day or couple of hours? So by using the monthly and the 6 hour, using our higher time frame helps us frame each day and each week. So if we can get a clear direction and work out which way the monthly is going to expand, we can then use that with our daily and down to our 4 hour and 1 hour. So if we're in the bullish expansion phase of the monthly candle, then we want to be looking for those lower time frame manipulations against trend to get into a position and then ride the expansion of the candle up. So monthly I find is very, very relevant, and as well as the daily and the 1 hour into the weekly I like to use as well. But yeah, couldn't just everything change on one day on a news release? That's why we look at the higher time frames, right? Like if we're looking at the monthly and we're above previous month 50%, we can expect price to keep going up. If we get an NFP and it drops us below 50% of the previous month and it puts in a clear high pivot, like so, then we can use that pivot and we can adjust the way we're reading price and then work with a high manipulation and standard deviations down. So we need to be able to flow with the market and adapt to changes. So, once at the start of November, once we had this high swing and we have our zone, we get the retest of the zone, we can stay biased to sells as price is going down to each level. We hit SD 1.5, expecting a retracement into reaccumulation. Then we can look for, buys for a few days as we're coming back up towards the zone or to our OTE from those two swings. Then we keep looking for sells. We hit SD 2.5, price comes up. We can look for buys on the days for price to draw back up towards the OTE of these two swings. And then continuation back down to the next SD level. Yeah, no worries. The hardest part is always similar to a week, I guess. So we're looking for manipulation at the start of the week, normally on a Monday or Tuesday. And we're doing the same on the 1 hour, looking where the weekly expansion is going to be. So similar at the start of the month, we're trying to work out, is this the manipulation of the month, or are we still going to get it up here and we come down? And it's all taking it piece by piece and then looking after our accounts and respecting our risk management when we're in more uncertainty or we're just consolidating like this across, putting in dojis. We want to be using less risk. Alrighty. So that was our monthly, and then your 6 hour paired with a monthly is what I've been using. Just drop back to our 5-minute chart. So I can remove this first manipulation now. That was incorrect. Congrats to the guys longing. And we can mark out now our other, now that we've broken above, invalidated this swing here. So this is now not going to be a high of the day. And we have an instat low of the day. Swing failure pattern here as well there. And we can mark out these standard deviation levels. So just like we were looking at on the 6 hour for the monthly, we can use this one now for the 4 hour. So we have opened, put in the low, and expanding higher. And sitting on the sidelines now. Hey, Juice. Also have this unmitigated order block here for people that are in the longs and looking for targets. That also lines up with SD 4.5 there. Didn't even get a retest of that civvy. This was a trap. All right, so we've done the monthly. We're going to the weekly. Get rid of these. So weekly, we've been watching this down close candle here, which was responsible for this breakout, the break above here. Had that drawn on. Should come back down. Did disrespect 50% there, but still closed within that order block. And then we come back up and we've just closed above from that previous week. So this now becomes a bullish order block here on the weekly. Which we didn't touch. And it's going to be interesting if once we start getting closes above here, we'll be able to do another standard deviation pull from this swing, looking for continuation. We'll jump down to our daily. So daily, we've been watching this manipulation swing here back from April and had SD 1.5 as that first target, which was hit end of November with our current high. So we were looking for this to go into an SBS, which has become invalidated. So that was our breakout. So we had this swing here, was our breakout one. And then we didn't get any 3. So if we had 1, 2, 3, then we could look for that sweep to come back up. But we just had our breakout and we swept that whole zone on the daily. Have a change in state of delivery here. we can put that on as a zone as well on the daily. Get rid of that one. That was our weekly. And our weekly bullish order block here. So we could see something come like this and then push up. We've got the equal highs here as well. And standard deviations from here. Starting to line up there. So SD 2.5 be the next major one. So we can watch this zone now from that 20th of November on the daily. And looking at that to stay valid until we get candle closes below 50%. All right, I'll get rid of this and we'll jump into our 1 hour. Okay, so 1 hour I've got the market maker buy model. Market maker model. We've had sell model into a buy model now that we're watching. So this is all from the previous month on the way down. And then we get our change here and push back up. Respect 50% of this swing. And we've been watching these levels. So straight away went to 1.5, 2.5 into our re-accumulation. Not the cleanest SBS there, but so breakout 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we come back up for 6. Up to SD 3.5. So this then becomes our next zone. So I keep drawing on these rectangle boxes to keep stepping up the zones for support, looking for the 50% to hold. Then we had this part here. So did another standard deviation pull from this for Tuesday the 25th of November. So this was a bullish week to the low, and then this was our next manipulation swing. Takes out all the equal lows that we have here. And push up, and we've hit that SD 4.5 from the low swing. So since then, we've just gone into this painful consolidation range. And currently watching, which I was talking about earlier, is this downswing here on the 1 hour from Wednesday. So once we start getting body closes above, looking for this to hold and 50%. So we can see we're respecting 50% of that on the 1 hour at the moment. This was our news candle here. This is another good example when you're saying, well, what do we do if we, we get those news candles? Well, a lot of the time, the news will create the narrative, right? I'll give you that low of the week. So I really want to see this. I wanted to see yesterday displacement come up here, and then we come back and flip this zone for support. But it's just really struggling. Come back. So another swing failure pattern here. So I still on that 50%, but yeah, I really want to get some closes above. Even a displacement above would be great, and then we can look for that to continue up to here, SD 2.5. You love accumulating a large position. When you're trying to do it and it just does this, though, painful. So we'll just put on our TDO levels as well. Let me put on the days so we can see. This one. Jess, first time Jess coming back for a little while, and you jump into one of my 1 hour charts and I haven't got it fully set up, Jess. I feel disappointed in myself. Had it so messy after last month. We've just been trying to clean it up a bit. Alrighty. So for our current week, we have Monday. We have a Monday low here. We'll draw that one. Do we get SMT at that low there? Monday, no. With YM. Monday 9 to 1. She was at the start. I think she's jumped out. All right, so we have our open low so far for the week, and we're pushing up. Looking like a, so far, reasonably bullish. Let's pop this onto the weekly. All right, so here's our weekly candle. Move this over a bit. Breakout here. I'm watching this zone. Nothing really too clean here if we're getting a standard deviation pull, because really on the 1 hour it's from this high to the low, which we have broken. And we can do that, and the SD1's lining up there with the 2.5 for extra confluence. But not the cleanest low manipulation. If we had ES come down here and SMT with ES, then we would use this swing. From the high to the low. Which also lining up nicely with that SD 2.5. Yeah, it's a tricky spot, Jess. I wanted yesterday to break out here and then get that retest, and then I'd be happier saying we've got that clean manipulation here, but it's just been so tight. So we can have that drawn on and look at 50% to hold, but we haven't like really had some nice candle closes above. Like, it's just very tight. We'll put on our true day opens as well while we're on this chart. So for those that are new here, I haven't seen me do this. So this is a normal setup each week. We do we want to see the midnight open levels with the vertical lines, and then we do the same thing with the opens going horizontal. So if we're in a bullish week, then we're looking for the manipulation below true day open. Right, so Tuesdays was really nice. We can do a standard deviation pull from Tuesday as well on that 1 hour. This is actually a good example. Finest execution. This is a good example of showing you why we're using the high time frame aligned with the daily and the weekly. So good example here. We've got that open low into a high close, and we can use those 1 hour levels for our targets. And then we can also align that with a 4 hour candle inside this day for a 5-minute manipulation. And then we do a standard deviation pull from the 5-minute manipulation for expansion higher. And we're doing the same thing, looking for 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, and 4.5, trying to catch the body of that 4 hour expansion. So just like we're trying to do on the monthly, as we break down to the weekly, we're doing on the 1 hour chart with the daily. And ideally, we were trying to get the expansion moves that's making the body of the weekly candle. And that's what I wanted to see here with this swing as well, but we're just getting stuck. Price is just not expanding higher. So at the moment, we've had manipulation above true day open or manipulation below, you know, and we're just building a doji for the day, which are the hardest days to trade, or when we're like that. That's when it also does help to have those high time frame analysis to work out, are we in the MMXM? All right, so we've done, I feel like I've jumped around a fair bit today. So we've done high TF monthly down to weekly. This is our 1 hour paired with the weekly. So we're currently waiting to get some displacement above here and look for this to act as support and continue up to that SD 2.5. So as we go into Friday, we will be looking wherever true day open comes in, and then we'll be looking for manipulation. Ideally, it's up here, and we've got that breakout, right? And then we can just look for manipulation below true day open on Friday and expand higher to give us a Friday high of the week. And we can hit that, and then we can look for a retracement after. Let's say it expands up to SD 2.5. Then we can look for a 5-minute deviation at the high, whether that comes in the New York AM or New York PM. And we can align our standard deviations then on a 5-minute, aligned with the weekly candle, and do our TGIF levels for the 0.2, 0.3. Does everyone understand what I just said? So for Friday, so if we get our expansion up here, if we can break above this and get some candle closes or displacement up here, then for Friday we can look for a manipulation below true day open. Look for a 5-minute manipulation zone. Zooming out, you can't believe you're surviving this PA. I know, Tony, this is the thing with December, right? We have, like, liquidity dries up a bit. And we've got to be able to survive these moves with our accounts. That's why I keep saying, like, risk less, guys. You know, just try to take clear setups. Take it easy. The main goal is to make your PAs last the whole month. So we get manipulation below true day open. We can look for a 5-minute standard deviation pull to get up to SD, 3.5, 4.5 here. And then we can look, so whether that comes up to SD 2.5, then we can look for a TGIF setup and a manipulation zone here on a 5-minute chart, 5-minute time frame, and we do a standard deviation pull, and we look for the SD levels of this manipulation to then align with the TGIF levels. So if we put the TGIF on from our weekly candle, so we've got our weekly low here, wherever this high comes in, ideally up here at SD 2.5, so we can have a good discussion about it next week. And then we've got SD 1.5 if this is this manipulation swing lining up with 0.2 there. So that then gives us extra confluence for the short up here. SD 2.5 lining up with 0.3 retracement. So ideally that play, we would have the candle body. Let me change this. Right, so our weekly candles playing out, we're pushing up, we hit SD 2.5, and whether this is around 9:30 or if it's in the PM quarter 3, and then we get our pullback to make the wick. That's the whole idea around the TGIF, right? And we can use our manipulation zones and standard deviations to align with those levels wherever that wick comes in. Yeah, so then what we're looking at, if I can draw out, I'll draw out what I'm trying to do on the 1 hour to give you guys an idea if we do that as a candle. So if this is our weekly, I'm just going to have to make that wider because it's not going to be in the middle and annoy me. All right, so if this is our weekly candle, on an ideal week, we're going to have our open. We get Monday does this. We come back down. We create the low of the wick. This is what we want to see on basically on the 1 hour chart, what I'm looking for a clean bullish expansion week. We then get our breakout, 1, 2, 3. So we come back for maybe a news event. We sweep 2 here. And then we push back up. Get our breakout, 1, 2, 3. Maybe another sweep. And then we start making the high of the wick. And we come back down to candle close. Do a standard deviation pull from the start of the week. We're looking at the redistribution around SD 1.5, SD 2.5, and the high of the week to come in on a bullish expansion week around that 4 to 4.5. So then at the end of the week, we can do this. And then we're looking at trying to catch that wick retracement. So we move this down a little bit and say it just goes to 0.2. We're trying to catch this part here over here at the end of the day on the Friday. ideally to that SD 1.5 or 2.5. So yeah, this is what I'm trying to do on the 1 hour chart with the weekly candle. If this is a daily candle or a 4 hour candle, I'm trying to do this on a 5 minute, and I'm taking profit here and here and here and here if I'm lucky. A lot of the time this is Asia. If we get a London low, this would be London. We sweep Asia lows. We come back up into New York. Maybe this is say 8:30. We come back down into 9:30, sweep here, and we push up into 12 o'clock. Come back down to 1:30, get a pivot at 1:30, push back up into the end of day, 1400 to 1500. 3:30 low. This is that would be my ideal day. All right. Sorry, guys. I got away from the normal chat. Got excited talking about how to read the weekly and daily. Turn that PA3 off. This is shooting up. We have our 0.79 up here to watch as well. Congrats to the guys that got long in here. Captured 2.5 to 6 p.m. high. Well done, man. So 6 in here. Oh, the high, that would be up here a bit higher. Yeah, cool. I like that you can use your standard deviations now aligned with your time levels, right? And the high of those candles. That's cool. And that's the whole thing. Like everyone should be taking all their bits and pieces from their mods and people that they learn from. Ideally, you want to be learn from people that are, getting payouts and they're just showing their stuff day in, day out. They're not flipping strategies. They're making it clear to read, and then just grab pieces from each of those people to then build your own repeatable strategy that you're quite happy with. That's going to keep getting you payouts. I've done like so much study, years of study and back testing, and all of the stuff that I've studied and grabbed, I've grabbed the best pieces that I've found that help me read the tape and trade it, and that's what I try and put together here for everybody. Yeah, and then risk thinking from LMT. Yeah. Thanks, guys. So key levels to watch now are going to be mitigation of this order block up here. And that 1 minute zone. Interesting to see how that next 4 hour. This 4 hour is normally the worst, just remember, for each day. So whether we get like a London reversal into continuation. It's going to be an interesting day. Using risk sync in prop firms should be mandatory. Yeah. Like risk thinking is just the best thing ever. Using multiple, like the whole mindset of building an inventory of accounts and spreading risk across accounts is just like it saves your accounts. You know, if you go through a string of, 3 or 4 losses, that's a lot if that's just on one account. And so many people start trading with the idea of, oh, I'm just going to do one account and I'm going to build that account to 100,000 or 200,000, and then you take 4 or 5 losses in a row and you've lost your account. But if you build up an inventory and you frame it around, I want this inventory is going to last a month. I'm just happy to risk a little bit here on this account, or this trade is really good. I'm expecting SD 1.5 to hit reasonably quick. I can go a little bit higher on my risk for this trade. And then you get your TP on that, and then your next TP doesn't hit on your next account. Maybe that comes back to break even, and then you can rotate that account to then be like an SD 1.5 for its next trade, and then build that up and stagger your accounts and keep building that inventory, and not just going, okay, I'm going to risk $500 on one account over and over again and blow your accounts. That's why I'm happy as well. Like, you guys see me trade one MNQ a lot of the time, but I'm doing that over 4 or 5 accounts, and suddenly a $200 win is now $800 win, and I've risked hardly anything. If they go wrong, it's done hardly any damage to an account. Yeah, great trade, man. Well, guys, I'm going to end the stream there. Let's go get my daughter from kindy in a minute. It's been fun. Sorry, we did jump around a little bit as we're getting a bit of action already in Asia today. Yeah, hope you guys get something out of it. No worries, guys. We'll catch you in the next one.